Hi,
Oh,
bookish friends. It's your girl, Lissa. I'm here with Stories and Spoilers, the podcast. I'm here with the author of The Gifted Society, Tatiana White. For anyone who is a huge fan of dark academia, secret societies, friendship, and amazing Black representation, this book is for you. So, without further ado, this is Tatiana White. How are you?
hi, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here with you finally.
Ah, we've been DMing for ages, listeners, and The Gifted Society stole my heart the moment I saw the cover. I will be completely honest. I was like, "Ooh, I need it." I need it immediately. This book found me when I really needed it in life, and talking to Tatiana has been such a heartwarming and beautiful experience. So
Oh,
this is so exciting to like have you on the podcast to discuss your debut book and what you have coming next, and just your inspiration for The Gifted Society because it's such
yeah.
a beautiful book. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I love to
yeah.
yap about it. Thank you.
I was so excited. Can you tell listeners a little bit about who you are as an author, as a person, and what got you into reading and now writing?
Okay, so let me see. Where did I start? My name is Tatiana White. I am a writer and I'm from the Bay Area, California. I'm one of those people who makes California her personality, I fear. I think a lot of that is because I have lived outside of the state and I've enjoyed what other states have to offer, but California to me is home. It gives me the sustenance that I need to feel like I can take over the world. And so I very much love this place. It's a big part of me. And I am just a consumer of stories. I love film, I love books, music, pop culture. If you follow me, you know that that's all within my realm. And so my life's dream is just to create community and safe spaces for the marginalized, in particular, Black girls, so that they can feel seen in stories that they've always wanted to be seen in.
Hmm. I
Uh,
absolutely love that. I'm so excited to hear more about you.
Thank you. And you asked what stories got me into writing. And so I started thinking about that. Last time I had an interview, I was asked that question. It's really hard to be asked that question on the fly. So I've thought about them since. And um, the moment that I think I felt like really compelled to or really drawn to stories, I would say was attributed to stories like Mafaro's Beautiful Daughters and The Talking Eggs, which are two really eerie picture books, but they both center Black girls. Um, and they all kind of have this tone to them, like almost kind of like, well, The Talking Eggs kind of reminds me of like Eve's Bayou a little bit. And I just remember feeling super intrigued by the way that the story made me feel and also seeing some type of representation that was different than what I was used to consuming. It wasn't just in one or two ways. It exposed me to a different type of world and something that was a little bit more strange and um, almost kind of like Southern Gothic, I want to say too. And I had just never been exposed to that. And if I had seen it a little bit, and as we all know, as Black people, it's like you can be exposed to some of these stories, but it's in very low doses. So it's it doesn't satiate like your interest, you know. And there might be different things that you like about different stories. So those two books for me really like scratched this itch that I didn't know that I had. And I also loved like Kevin Hinkey's Chrysanthemum book growing up. And I don't know, it just really made me realize that you could live so many different lives and hear so many different voices from being immersed in stories. And so from there, I would say I was very much a Disney kid, an obnoxious Disney kid at that. I would turn my room into sets like Alice in Wonderland. And then I had the costume. My godmother is a seamstress and she can put things together. And back then they didn't have like the commodified Disney costumes. So my godmother had to sew things together, and it was kind of like a novelty, like having this exclusive Cinderella dress and this exclusive Alice in Wonderland apron. And I was just the ham. I would be in my room just doing all of that. But I would say outside of that, I think the stories that really resonated with me and drew visceral reactions from me were stories like The Rescuers and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Fox and the Hound, like things that really apply to the real world and human nature, even though they use animals. Robin Hood, too. I always say Robin Hood is like the first Black Disney film. It really is. Like you could put in Black actors in, in each character, and it is a Black film, Black comedy. Um, but yeah, I think those stories radicalized me in a lot of ways. And stories like Pollyanna, the Black version with Keisha Knight Pulliam, um, The Parent Trap in Crooklyn, Now and Then was a huge coming of age story that really inspired me to not only want to be those girls, but also like write stories like that. And I grew up wanting to be like Christina Ricci. And so, like, even though I wasn't like Christina Ricci, she was like my muse for a while. And so, in that, I kind of recognized this void, and that, Black girls don't, we in the 90s, like, we didn't have a lot. Like, we had no representation in books. Not like, I mean, the numbers still are abysmal and we can do better, but it was just very slim pickings back then. And we had like the Babysitters Club, which I loved. I was obsessed with them. Claudia, Dawn, and Jessie were my favorites, and Jessie was a Black girl, and I was so grateful for that. But I didn't feel like I could recognize Jessie and her family. And perhaps it's because she wasn't written by a Black woman. I don't feel like she was, as fully realized as I wanted her to be. And even then, it was like, even if she was, one book is not enough, So I was a quintessential millennial teen and just consumed, latchkey kid. Um, I'm inspired by so much. Like, you name it, I've watched it, I've read it, I've heard it. Um, but I really became determined during the YA boom, I'd say, like the 2000s YA boom.
Ooh. Speaking of young adult and that dystopian and like all the books that came out of that, were there
Mm-hmm.
any books in the 2000s under that dystopian world, that dark academia, that maybe
Mm-hmm.
influenced a little bit of the Gifted Society?
I wish I could say that there was, because I feel like dark academia wasn't really packaged back then. And so I did struggle with, when I was querying this book, I struggled with packaging it because there was essentially nothing like it. Like, I couldn't really like describe what I was making. And then also being a Black author and pulling in all these different elements, it was really hard to articulate. But a lot of things that I was inspired by in the YA boom, it was more so things like X-Men. And I did love um, Percy Jackson and the Lightning.
Me too.
That's that's home for me, um, for sure. I wasn't. I read Twilight, um, but I also read Twilight knowing that, like, this is not what I want to write, but I want to make something similar-ish.
Mm.
And The Darkest Minds, I remember reading that. The Hunger Games, also, I think I was heavily inspired by Katniss and wanting to create a dynamic protagonist. And The Darkest Minds is also kind of like X-Men as well, but I wouldn't say that I was so obsessed with those things that I kind of wanted to embody them with my work, you know.
Well, I also loved X-Men growing up. I think that this group of ragtag young adults in this academy with different powers. I was a big Bobby girl. I loved the icy powers.
Iceman, yes.
Yes. I was
Bobby
like,
Drake.
yes, and I listen, the writing was on the wall. I should have known. I should have known. I was like, I really like Rogue and like I like Bobby for his personality, but like I don't want to be with
I
Bobby.
want
I
to
want
be
to
with
be
him.
Bobby. Like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be the quirky, fun, thoughtful partner, the golden retriever per se, with
yeah,
badass powers, and then the cool,
yeah,
moody girlfriend. I didn't want Bobby. I wanted to be Bobby. So
yeah.
I was like, I love his personality, but like I don't actually want the man.
I mean, I felt like Rogue didn't really want Bobby either, though. And then Bobby didn't
Listen,
want Rogue, right? I mean, the
it's a lot of
writing.
moving parts. Also, like Storm was iconic. Like
Yeah,
it's a canon moment for a young black girl to see Storm, see Halle Berry, like coming down from the sky, the silver hair, the bright eyes, like
yeah,
collected, pulled together, chaotic, badass. Like,
yes, exactly.
mm, it's an
Exactly.
energy, it's a lifestyle, it's a vibe.
It
Also,
is
Storm in the graphic novels, beautiful. Those comics, amazing. I was like
unrivaled. Unrivaled.
unrivaled.
She is
Will
unrivaled.
always win.
And
I was
she,
like,
I would probably say, I mean, as we'll probably discuss, but that she was probably like the biggest determining factor in me even feeling like I could write this story, which is crazy, you know.
that's so cool.
But just knowing that there was one singular person or character doing exactly what I wanted. Like she was a superhero, she was a goddess, she was gorgeous, regal, you know. Like everybody loves Storm. Like how can you not? How can you not love Storm? And she has so much substance and she's so complex and they've just done such a great job with Storm and really like I think Storm just that little seed she planted in my head made me feel like I want more of this. I want to do it, you know, a certain type of way and I want her to be a kid, you know. I want this for the kids. So yeah, Storm for sure. The image of Halle Berry. We're both saying Halle Bailey.
I keep saying Halle Bailey, but I mean to say
Yeah,
Halle Berry. Yeah.
Halle Berry.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, I'm sure Halle Bailey could do a great Storm. Hear me out,
she's
hear me out. I'm
well,
sure she'd
I
be
mean,
great.
she's just as important being the black
Yeah, they're
woman.
both important. They're both amazing, but their names do sound quite similar.
Yes,
So,
difficult.
yes. But like attracts like, they're both awesome.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do Black Mermaids, I would be happy to see that as well. That would
Okay.
be super cool. So,
Taking notes, writing it down.
take the notes. I know you're busy, but consider it. Consider it. I also wanted to ask, what does Black girlhood mean to you on and off the page?
Well, I would say,
That's a big question. It's a big
and,
question for Elmo.
and another thing, um, I think Black girlhood to me is, I'm trying to like just condense it, is dreaming without limits. And I hate using this term because I feel like everybody is tired of it. But it's just also having audacity to take up space and learn every part of ourselves, especially as we change and we grow, and to be okay with that. I think that we're not really allowed to be ourselves in all of our complexities and all facets. And we should allow ourselves to be curious and to be different from one another, but to also have this collective recognition of one another, the things that we do have in common and the things that we share and how beautiful those things are. They're things that bind us together. And we should also appreciate the things that make us different and the things that they can teach us about ourselves and each other. And so to me, I guess Black girlhood is soul searching, and it's a soul searching that warrants protection and um, vulnerability, I would say. And so I think all of these things are things that I hope people can find in my book Like all of my works, I want to encompass this overall theme of girlhood. And then, like you said, like it just doesn't stop. It's not just, when you turn 18, you're not a girl. Like what to me, womanhood and girlhood are like hand in hand still. I think through womanhood you heal your inner child and the black girl inside of you. And so I think it's all the same. I think you never stop soul searching and improving and asking questions and wondering why and trying new things. But I want my work to be a safe place to explore that and to feel healed, or a place of refuge where you can even rest enough to entertain those pieces of yourself.
That was a beautiful response. And that was so accurate to me about this experience of not only navigating girlhood, but also
Mm-hmm.
navigating race, navigating your race in the world, navigating your race in literature, in movies, in dating, in friendships,
Mm-hmm.
stereotypes. It's a myriad of things. Um, it's like a silhouette of a person versus what a person actually is. Like
You're right.
the person
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah.
like does it all goes hand in hand, and it's beautiful and at times painful and at times like growing pains. And I think
Yeah.
that that lasts our whole lives, like constantly learning.
Yep.
But books help. Like to me, like books are like stairs. Like it leads you to
Yep.
doors. It leads you to worlds where you learn about yourself.
Exactly.
Hunger Games, we a lot of us read it, different ages, different places in the world, but it made us question things and it made us
Yes.
uncomfortable and it made us look at certain elements of life, like what would I do in that situation?
Right.
Um, and it was scary, but it was also
Yeah.
empowering.
Yeah. To know that, yeah, it just takes one person.
100%. Yeah, and it's wonderful. And with X-Men and with Storm and what we discussed earlier and how that influenced the Gift Society, I
Mhm.
feel like for some people, only one person, one character, one actor, one song, one band, seeing a Black woman at the center, seeing a
Mhm.
Black woman as a supporting character, and then later seeing a Black woman in actresses and main characters. The Odyssey with Zendaya, Halle Berry with Storm, seeing Charmed, the newest rendition, had a Black main character,
Yeah.
and Hispanic representation. We're seeing a lot coming out right now that is
Mhm.
like incredibly exciting.
Mhm.
Um, and for some people, like even seeing Rue in the Hunger Games, and we all know where that goes.
Yeah.
Um, it's uh, it's like representation, but it's also like,
Yeah.
oh, representation. Like
Yeah.
it's a double edged sword. You know what I mean?
It's
Um,
it's stupid. Yeah.
it's tough. Bonnie, the Vampire Diaries, we were discussing before recording.
Yeah. Mhm.
So Bonnie for me in the Vampire Diaries was like one of the first big characters that I felt like a visceral connection to.
Yeah.
So while reading your book, I couldn't help but feel like, oh, I'm getting the same like heart, like in my heart, like I care about these characters the same way that I really cared about Bonnie in the
Oh,
Vampire Diaries.
thank you.
So it's like this is such a beautiful healing experience. And those are my like icebreaker questions for you. I
Okay.
now want to dive into the big one. Your
Okay.
debut, The Gifted Society. For
Yeah.
listeners who are listening on Spotify, the cover is a beautiful Black girl looking at you, surrounded by statues, and she's almost breaking the third wall.
Mhm.
It's gorgeous. It's amazing. This book will like grab you by the heart and never let you go. And it's just awesome. Like it's so badass. Like it's giving you powers. It's giving you friendships. It's giving you secret societies. I'm not going to spoil it. This is a non-spoiler episode, but coming directly from the author, Tatiana, how would you like to describe to listeners what the Gifts of Society is about and what
Mhm.
inspired the main character, Alexa Jacobs?
Alexia.
Alexia.
Alexia. I had that.
I'm saying her name wrong this whole time.
I,
Wow.
I don't want to. I don't
Wow.
want to trigger my Alexa.
I'm so sorry, girl. I went here and I went, yeah, Alexa, this entire time. Me, I love Alexa, girl. I love her. Alexia? It's like
Alexa.
rice sand all over again. Meet Reese.
It's okay.
Oh, here we
Right,
go.
yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
kept calling him Reese. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, Reese. And the little shadow daddy Reese. Rice sand?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron. Aaron?
Yes. It happens. It happens, girl. It's okay. Her
Listen.
name could be Alexa too.
It's not, and that's okay. I've been corrected. Thank you. But yes, how would you describe the Gifted Society to folks who haven't read it yet?
I would describe the Gifted Society as a little bit X-Men meets Legendborn, and it is a young adult dark academia. The other day I said academia. I was tired. Academia book. Well, it has dark academia elements, and it's a fantasy. And it's about 16-year-old Alexia Jacobs. She crosses realms to save her best friend from being sacrificed by a secret society. But she also is running to get away from her senator father, and his regime that persecutes super powered beings called variants like her because she has injured him with said powers. And I actually came up with this when I was 13, and it started out as like X-Men fiction again. So here we go again, talking about Storm. And I was really interested and really inspired by the New Mutants, and they were kind of like um, another branch of X-Men, but more so you could see what the kids at Xavier's were doing. And I was really interested in that. I liked the element of things going on in the school that they lived at. I was always intrigued by, dark academia in this way. And but again, it hadn't been packaged or named or anything like that. So it was really hard for me to describe, like, I like these stories. So I was like, I just want to see this, so I'm going to write it. And Alexia came to me because of some partially of what I had and then what I didn't have. What we didn't have were Black girls in books going on adventures, being main characters. But I had that in a way in television programming. And so a lot of what I loved when I would watch TV is like Tatiana Ali as Ashley Banks in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Reagan Gomez Preston in The Parenthood. She played Zaria, and she was so fly. Her hair was always done to the nines every episode. Slick, shiny, jet black, pressed, curled, whatever. Zaria was so fly. Her outfits were fly. But more than anything, what I loved about both of them is they had this sweet girl next door personality and sensibility to them. And it just was it was just something I wanted to see more of and expand on. And I think that I was also wanting to explore somebody of that age, kind of learning about themselves, coming into their own power, and finding their voice. And I guess that's also probably because I was finding my own voice when I was 13. So that's really how Alexia came to be.
Wow. Well, if that doesn't put you to want to read The Gifted Society, I don't know what will, listeners. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Also, for folks who haven't read this book yet, you still have time. It's amazing. It's out in the world. It's so good. I wanted to ask, it has found family,
Mm-hmm.
powers, friendship, and these are elements of the story. What was it like building the world of The Gifted Society?
Mm. um, I feel like that is, I mean, my answer is pretty simple because I feel like overall the process was just very tedious. And it took a lot of time. And the type of creator I am and author that I am, I would love to do what I see some of my colleagues do. I feel like they are super talented and very disciplined with creating and doing it in such a succinct way, and where like when they do it the first couple of times, like it's right, or they have everything come to them, or they're organized. I don't know what it is, what they're doing, but they can churn out things a lot faster than I can, and I admire those who can do that. I always see myself though as like a crock pot type of creator. Like the stuff gets good for me when it sits and it marinates and, it's like a slow burn. And then by the time it's ready, it's fall off the bone. It's fall off the bone good. But in order for me to get there, I have to commit time and spend time in the world and with the characters in a way where I really want to know so much about it, and how it works and what these relationships are behind the scenes, so that even if I'm not speaking to those things, they can be felt, they can be detected. And I think, I mean, I've been told that my writing is kind of like cinematic by a lot of readers, and I think that that's the reason why that is, or maybe what they're picking up on, is is all of that background work. Like I know my systems and my science, and I know the history of those systems and the science, and I also know the background of each character and how they came to be that way and what their middle name is, and the history of these buildings and what their interior looks like and what their exterior looks like, what their frame looks like, what it's made out of, who installed the pipes. Like it is exhausting. And but it's exhausting because it has to be. And I want people to feel like they know everybody before they even really met them. Like I want them to feel like they've always known Alexia, and they've always known Kyle, and they've known Kyle's family, and they've known Alani, and they've known Sage Cameron. They've always been at the Grove. They've always been at Malvo Academy, and they have a dorm here, and they have a bed here, and they know their way around. You know that meme where it's like, not my home, but I know my way around. That's what I want my book to feel like. And in order for me to get there, I just have to be able to paint vivid pictures. So
I really like how you're so entrenched in this world that you've built that you know it inside and out. That is so cool. And when it becomes a film one day, fingers crossed, you'll be on set and be like, yeah, that's the, yeah, yeah, you're the owner of this house. That's
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, the main character of the Gifted Society has a power and is
Mm-hmm.
attempting to uncover a secret society. Can you tell listeners a little bit about why you wanted to intertwine these elements in your debut? Like, how did you build this secret society in the novel? What was that like? And like the powers involved as well. Like, can you give listeners a little teaser about that?
Uh, yeah, I guess that's a good question too. Um, well, I feel like with the theme of Alexia coming into her power and then the secret society, I feel like was kind of natural. And they, to me, are like peanut butter and jelly, because kids at that age, in their teen adolescence, I feel like that age is kind of like the first time where you as a person are realizing that you can pull the veil back, you know? And so some of the things that kids are being told is not the truth, or everything is not what it seems. And they're exploring their voices, and they know they have this internal power. They have these things, and they're very raw and potent because they're new. But the thing that is lacking is their confidence in those things. And so those two, especially because I feel like the concept of a secret society is so reflective of real life and government and politics, or just, I mean, anything really. Like there's always something lying under the surface. Like there's the real operation that you see on the outside, and then there's the innards. And I wanted to kind of explore that and put that in a book and give kids the message that, their voice matters and that they are powerful. All it does take is one person. And you can be afraid to speak up, and speak your mind, but do it anyway. Be scared but do the thing anyway, which is what Alexia does. She's scared throughout the whole book. but she doesn't. She does it anyways, and she's very much a teenager. Like she has her sassiness, and she, sometimes puts her foot in her mouth, but um, a lot of it is her just coming into her own, and she has the people in her circle, like Alani. Alani was created because I think Alani could say the things that I couldn't say when I was a kid. And Alani is very much that person who speaks for Alexia when Alexia can't speak for herself or doesn't know what to say to herself. And then Kyle being her support, and same for Nate. So um, that's one big reason why I had found family woven throughout the story, is to lift her up and show the importance of community when it comes to speaking your mind and stepping into your power and trying to eliminate or put these systems on a spotlight. And I was also just really intrigued by the concept of a secret society and rituals and history, and how they can infiltrate in so many different sectors of government, and um, you know medical and farm agriculture and things like that. You think that things are just the way they are on a surface level, and then when you really look down, you can see all the tentacles, and they kind of crisscross together, and you kind of learn like all of this is a hydra. If I cut off one, the two more heads are going to appear. So I was always just really bothered by that and intrigued by that. And so um, that's what I wanted the secret society to encompass, but with style. Yeah.
Thank you so much for telling us a little bit about that. I was so enthralled by the secret society at the heart of this book, but mostly the female friendship as well.
Thank you.
I loved that, and like just like kind of like F the system. I liked that too. It was really, really cool. I have one more question for you. I have a few more, but one more that I'm like really excited for you to answer. What
Okay.
was the most challenging part about writing this story, and how did you overcome it?
uh the most challenging part is definitely trying to figure out the recipe and getting it right. uh, Locking in the details in the right place, because sometimes it could be too much, sometimes it could be too little. And I probably have like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably have like 50 drafts of this book. um, and just cutting and adding and cutting and adding and cutting and adding, and I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try that. And at one point it was 150,000 words, and then 130, and then 110, and then 90,000, and then back to 110. And um, I overcame all of that indecisiveness when I really was able to work with the team. I have a great developmental editor. She pushed me so much and trusted me, um, and would ask me questions that really allowed me to see, like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, here's the pathway. Like, she helped me, I want to say, like, clear the path. Like, I know where I'm going. It's just, I need to have like a clear idea, a clear vision of it, so that I can feel like affirmed in what my idea is. And so when she would ask these questions, it would just get my mind going. And I'd be like, yes, I got this. And it would really empower me to have autonomy over my story instead of second guessing what is too much and too little. It made me assured in what I considered too much and too little. So I really want to give credit to my team, because in collaboration, they helped me get that click, which is super addicting when you get there. And my illustrator, Clara, even though she, is illustrating things that are already written, Clara is so visual, and I really connect with how things should appear. And so through my collaboration with her and working with her on things like the cover and the illustrations inside, it further locked in how I want the Gifted Society to read once I'm done, gestating it like a pregnant woman, like once I give birth to this book, this is what I wanted to look like and to feel like and to read like. Everything had to match. And so I would say the collaboration for sure. Like it gave me that click. But it also takes time to hear that click. You have to put the time in.
Can you share your favorite quote or a line from The Gifted Society? And after you share it, I want to know why you chose that line specifically.
Ooh. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
You say line, and I'm
A
like,
quote, a line.
I
But
am.
also it's hard because it's like non-spoiler. So it's a little challenging.
I know, and I'm a wordy bitch. Like,
Thank God. Okay, your words are amazing. Hmm.
so I have not a line, but maybe like a few sentences. Non-spoiler. Um, but this is, I will say, it already tells you on the back that, she's on the run because she injured her father with her powers. So this is not a spoiler. It's on the back of the book. Okay. So I'm gonna start now. I could ride the wind with how fast I'm running. My feet could lift and my body would cut its way through the sky. I wish that were me instead, a flyer, not a walking nuclear bomb, not a daughter who attacked her father. I filled his flesh with hot stars, baking pieces of him, then left half of him alive. I should have stayed no matter the cost, because no matter how I slice it, I deserve to rot. Where Sarai was is where I should be now. And I chose that because I feel like it encompasses a lot of Alexia's journey and just not loving herself, not understanding herself, and feeling like this aberration, when it really is much deeper than that. Like when you hear that, you're like, well, she attacked her father, but if he had not participated in the bigotry that caused her to keep a secret and to suppress herself, where would she be? Like, who would she be now? And she has to hold that burden and the self-hate that she had been taught to have her whole life. Um, and I just think that it's something that she battles throughout the book constantly. And so her getting to a point where she doesn't do that through found family and community is a milestone in itself.
This is a bit of a spoiler for listeners out there, but it's a good one. This story ends in a way that leaves the door open. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about what you're excited to see happen with your future books and your future projects? I'll leave
Oh,
that there.
okay. Well, you might have
Mhm.
to remind me if I miss anything because, like I said, I'm a wordy girl, and there's a lot. So, future projects, like I was telling you earlier, I feel like I'm the mother of triplets. Like the Gifted Society is a planned trilogy. And so there's book 2 and book 3 that I am working on. When you work on book 2, you got to work on book 3. And so a little detail about book 2. I don't know if do you want me to go into that right now? Or do you just
Maybe
want
tease it. You can tease a little bit of it. I want people to be able to read The Gifted Society and know the
to?
story
Mhm.
continues.
Okay, okay. So in book 1, it ends in summer or at the beginning of summer. And in book 2, it's going to pick up in summer. Um, I wanted it to pick up in summer because I want these kids, these people to have a good time after everything they experienced in book 1. And that's something that they are seeking through the summer, just to be regular people and own the summer. And so that's what you're opening book 2, opening up to in book 2 is this joy. You'll be able to explore other parts of the Grove outside of Malvo, outside of the Belruse, and that's been really interesting to explore as an author and a creator, just this whole terrain of what Sage Cameron calls Varian country, And yeah, that's so far my favorite part of the book because the rest of it is really dark. So they really need this time of just rest and, relaxation, bonding, because they pretty much will be going through the ringer like forever, forever.
Listen, and that's an awesome element because if it is slightly inspired by X-Men, part of the
Mm-hmm.
challenge is that like with their powers does come a certain level of danger,
Yeah.
unfortunately. There's also like a beauty to it and a sense of community. So I'm excited to see how the story continues on with the rest of the series. I want to ask you about another project you have coming up in the future, fingers crossed, the Blackbird book. Can you tell listeners a little bit about what this is giving, this young adult fantasy? I'm hearing a little bit of Powerpuff Girls
Yes.
meets like the Pussycats and a little bit of Labyrinth, a little bit of funkiness. So I
Yes.
want to know, like, what is this story going to be about?
Man, I'm so excited to finish this one and write it because it's so dear to my heart. And I'm really inspired to do it because I have two sisters. We're very close. And so this book is kind of like my my love letter to my sisters and also Black sisterhood and just the concept of family. Um, it's my plan is for it to basically be about three punk rock sisters in a band, right? And they have to use their gifts to go save their mom from being kidnapped, mysteriously kidnapped. And it's fantasy. It's Josie and the Pussycats meets Labyrinth meets Powerpuff Girls. Each one of the girls has their own personality. Um, and I don't know, like I think this one is going to be so fun. I have so many ideas, and my creative diet is just so rich for this book. Um, and the voice is completely different. Like I cannot wait, and I know it's going to be cathartic too to write it, but it was definitely born out of all these Guitar Hero sessions me and my sisters had when we were latchkey kids. So now it's going to be in a
I
book.
absolutely adore that. As someone who also has siblings, I have brothers, but the love I have for them, I've never loved anyone
Yeah.
that much. Outside of like the love for our family is different than the love for like a partner or a friend. It's a
Yeah.
little different. Still intense, still special, but it's like siblings having, if you're close to your siblings, it's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's beautiful that that's what that story is going to be. At the heart is like that sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to another project coming up, fingers crossed, according to your Instagram, which I'm always watching, a radical short story. What
Mm-hmm.
is the vibe of that? And where's that story gonna go?
This one is fun because it's kind of like a prequel for the Gifted Society, centered around Louis and Marcel Mavot. So we're going to learn a little bit more about the brothers and their history, and I felt like it would be something cool to bring in before book two. And that's all I can say about that.
Ooh, I love the little prequel. Okay, okay. My last question for you is the Muse Papers. Can you
Mhm.
tell listeners a little bit more about this and how you kind of share your experience as a writer with people and your
Yeah.
newsletter? I would love to kind of highlight that as well.
Okay. Well, the newspapers is just kind of like it's like coming into my house, my brain. And my brain is not always thinking about writing books. My brain largely is thinking about pop culture because my creative diet has basically spawned so many of these stories. Like a lot of what I have consumed over my life and been inspired by is so important to me. And I have so many opinions about it, and I'm so passionate about these things. And so the newspapers is my platform, my soapbox, so to speak, to get that off of my chest, to say those things. So over there, I am giving author updates, sneak peeks, um, a little bit more long form content over there, and discussing things that I care about. Like I love to write about Timothy Chalamet. I feel like I'm so interested in the trajectory of his career and the decisions that he makes. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but I have a magnifying glass on it.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
I think pop culture gets a bad rap because people feel like if you're interested in it, you have these parasocial relationships, but not everybody is that way. And I think for me, especially as somebody who majored in mass media communications and studied journalism in college, I wanted to be a journalist. Um, Pop culture for me has always been something that can define history. I think that people write it off too quickly. It can tell you about politics, it can tell you about history, it can tell you about the economy. These are all, pop culture is just like they're symptoms of a bigger issue. And I'm also like a film junkie. I love film. And I love to go back and watch old films. And my favorite thing to do when I go back and watch old films is understand the context of what they're talking about, their dialect, what was happening at that time, um, to determine what type of choices would be made. Like, you know, understanding the Hays Code back then and how it altered censorship and things like that. It can inform so much about the world, and I think that we just write it off a little too quickly. And it's fun in that way. Like when you examine it, like as much as we hate to admit it, the Kardashians, they and their impact, they tell us so much about who we are and what we're where we're at right now. Even though we have our issues with them and our thoughts about them, they inform so much, you know? So it's like, how could you not be interested in these things because they tell you everything? So I just love examining it, you know, and I talk about these things on the newspapers because I love it. I'm passionate about it.
I would literally listen to you read your grocery list happily. I would happily. You'd be like, so no lettuce because explosive diarrhea. Also, but also this is a bad time to mention I've been craving a Caesar salad. I've been
Oh,
craving a Caesar
Gotham
salad.
greens. You can get Gotham greens.
You
They
know, it's
have
one of those
a
things where when you
hydroponic.
can't have something, it's when you want it.
Yeah,
When you
it
can't
is.
have it, it's when you want it.
But girl, you can
Um,
grill it. They grill. They're grilling lettuce.
You know, there are options. Sorry, listeners out there who may have been eating, but yes, I would happily read anything you write, and I
You.
agree. I think that in the same way that like it all connects back. When
Yes.
I read The Gifted Society, I had just started the podcast, and I was unsure of myself. I wasn't sure who'd want to hear me talk about books all day and
Mm-hmm.
talk to authors and nerd out over my favorite like horror books and romance and all the things. And I think it all comes back to what you've been saying this entire episode. If one person,
Mm-hmm.
if one person can highlight diversity in books and liking weird girl horror and gothic and talking about like I've really been getting into horror movies recently as a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
I have found the most diversity discussions of queer representation, trans representation. I've seen a lot of amazing elements in horror, both
Mm-hmm.
in book form and in films,
Yeah.
discussing love, the dark side of love, the dark side of an obsession about love, ownership, what it means to be with someone, what it means to be independent and away from someone,
Yeah.
femininity, you name it, horror's done it. But also fantasy. We're seeing things like X-Men's coming back. We're seeing elements of aging with Wolverine. We're seeing a sense of community with school. Like we're it's like the beauty of comics to me and the beauty of books to me is that these characters can live forever.
Yeah.
These characters can be resurrected. These characters can have villain moments. These characters can be both a hero and a villain, depending on who you're talking to. Like there's just a magic in between the pages.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's all about interpretation. In someone's eyes, you can read about a character and get super attached to them, and then a
Mm-hmm.
twist happens, and you're like, "Oh my gosh!" you're actually evil. Like you're
Yeah.
evil. This whole
Yeah.
time they spoke to you as a reader in a
Right.
way where it's like, I see your perspective, Killmonger, Black
Yes.
Panther. You know,
Yes.
the very beginning of the
Hero.
movie, we
Mhm.
thought we were hearing T'Challa. Turns out, no. It perspective, like
Yeah.
perspective.
And those are the
Um,
best kinds of villains. Yeah. Yeah.
where they don't see themselves as villains. Like they in their mind, their intentions like, but I have reasons. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Um, it's it's giving the same thing as like the Darkling from Shadow and Bone. Like, okay, make me your villain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we could have had this, but obviously not. So I love that. And the moment you said X-Men in my mind, I was just like the grand debate, like Magneto, like do
Mhm.
the ends justify the means? Like what
Right.
are you willing to do? I I did an entire project in school, I think about civil rights movement and the X-Men. And I like
Oh,
connected them. In my mind, I was like, I'm a genius. This is a brand new original idea. Meanwhile, my mom beside me, like helping me along the way to like communicate my points correctly.
mhm.
Which is part of the black girl. And it's like I think girlhood experience, like you have all these ideas and you have all these
Yeah.
concepts and like you think everything connects. Um, and like your hobbies and your passions being heard,
Mhm.
being validated, you don't always get that.
Yep. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and seeing you like being able to hold your book in my hands and share this with listeners, like now they will be able to read your book and years of work and inspiration and character development. It's so exciting, like you did it, like you
Thank
took a dream and made it like a reality, which is so cool.
you. It's still a trip. It's still a trip.
Yes, it's
It's
still it's a journey, it's a journey.
it's a journey. Yes, it's sweet. It's the best thing. It's the best thing ever. And I'm really glad that, I haven't beat myself up and just continued going to the point where I'd be exhausted and not really be able to soak it in that I completed something and I put it out there for the people who need it or who are looking for it and didn't know they were looking for it. So it's the best thing. And meeting people like you, like nothing better at all.
You can always make a character who's got a podcast, maybe like her power is like sharing messages like audibly, like you can't see her but you can hear her. That could
Yeah,
be cool.
and she could be
That could
friends with Lucy.
that could be fun. I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, like my cat maybe can teleport. I don't know. Like that could be cool.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, put me in the ring. I would probably win. That would be so cool. But I don't know. I think it's one of those cool things where it's like also real people can inspire characters. Like with what you have coming up with your sisters and that story. Like that is so cool. Like now your sisters will be immortal on page. That is
Mhm.
so cool. As we come to the end of the episode, is there anything that you want to share with listeners about the Gifted Society and your upcoming projects?
The thing I want to share about the Gifted Society is I just want it to feel like home. I want it to feel like if you are looking for a place, a soft place to land, there's adversity in there for sure. It's going to be an adventure, but I want, as Marcel Malvo says, for this place to be where the wanderer comes home. And so, if you're looking for that, if you're looking for community, if you're looking for something that is lush and warm but exciting, this can be the place for you. Like everybody is welcome. And about my work, just keep your eyes on my spaces. I'm on Instagram as Tia X Tati. I'm also on Threads as Tia X Tati. Am I on Threads as Tia X Tati? Yes, I am. it's X that I had a different one. And same for TikTok, but I'm mostly active on Instagram and Threads, and you can also find me on Substack for the Muse Papers. That's the name of my newsletter, and yeah, that's it.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Everyone, grab your copy of The Gifted Society. I will have it linked in the show notes below, as well as all your socials so everyone can follow you and keep up to date with your Instagram stories.
Thank
Because
you.
I know I am. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Tatiana, for coming on the podcast and sharing your light. And the character mirrors you. She's celestial and otherworldly and centered in something grounded and magical and universal. Is
Wow.
survival and friendship and growing, constantly growing, and you're doing that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. So thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your story with us. Everyone who listened, please grab your copy of The Gifted Society right away. Okay, you won't regret it. And follow on Spotify, leave a nice little rating, subscribe on YouTube, it really helps, and show Tatiana White some love. Follow her on Instagram too. I'll see you guys later. Stay cozy and keep reading. Bye.